Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be doing the Universes Collide tag, which was originally created by Mason in the Dark. And I wasn't actually tagged in this one, but I've seen quite a few people do it lately. It looked like a lot of fun, so I thought I would give it a shot. So with that, let's get into the tag. So the first question is the switch up. Choose two protagonists from different series that you would like to see swap. So I thought about this, and I ended up picking, I think, two protagonists that actually have some similar traits and have some similar things in a way happen to them. And so I thought it'd be really interesting to see them interact in the different world. And so I went with Fitz from the Farseer trilogy and Kip from Lightbringer. So these both of these gentlemen have pretty rough lives, are kind of orphans in a way, and then get pulled into court. Very, very different settings and worlds, but both have that kind of base experience that's the same. And I think it'd be super interesting to see how each one would react. They both go on very, very different journeys, but seeing two characters that have some similarities interact in the other world and kind of switch, I think that would be super interesting to see. With Fitz, to see if he turns out quite a lot different, and how very different Kip would have been in Farseer as well, because I feel like he would not have done a lot of things that Fitz does, or he would have done a lot of things that Fitz would not do. So it'd be really interesting, I think, to see that. So I thought that would be a fun switch up. The second prompt is V for Villainy. Choose a villain you would like to see get their own story. So I had to go with Demandred from The Wheel of Time. And he's one of the Forsaken, and I know he does have River of Souls. I actually still haven't read that. Need to at some point. So there is a little bit there, but he's really the Forsaken that we spend the least amount of time with, and who also seems to have one of the more interesting backstories. I would love to look at the Forsaken in general. Granted, I think would be really interesting to see more information, backstory of them. But I'd love like a full-length Demandred novel. I think that'd be super cool. I know it'll never happen either, but that's, it didn't have to say these had to be realistic in the rules for the tag that I'm aware of, so that's what I went with, was Demandred. The third prompt is the adaptation, and it's choose a character you would like to see get novelized. So this was a hard one, because a lot of things that I like watch or anything, like I know some movies, for example, do get novelizations, or some games and things like that, and usually I'm not a huge fan of those. So I tried to think of something that I really, really liked the story for and that I think would translate well, and I think I would have to go with, it's over here. Uh, I think I'd have to go with Aloy from Horizon Zero Dawn. I really, really liked Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm not a huge gamer. I don't game a lot. So that was one of those games that like really, really sucked me in, and I loved the game, and I played the whole thing through and platinumed it, which is something I never do for most games. So I really, really enjoyed the story, the character of Aloy. I would almost certainly read a novel about Aloy and her travels. So I do want to play the second game as well, but I'd read a novel. So I honestly, that way I can still get the story, and it would probably be just about as satisfying, since I'm not a huge gamer anyway. That would be cool. That'd be probably one that I would read. And like I said, this was kind of a hard one to think of. But next up for the fourth prompt is the crossover. Choose two characters from different universes that you would like to see interact. So this one, I also kind of picked two characters that are similar in a way, because the shenanigans they would get into would be something special, I feel like. And that is Jalyn Kendith from the Red Queen's War trilogy. I have the first book here. And then since I already have Memory of Light out, we're going to go Matt from Wheel of Time. These two both kind of like the pretty boy, the going out to the tavern and trying to hit on all the women. Have a little bit of like a cowardly streak, but also will definitely step into a fight when needed. Jalen a little bit more on the cowardly side, but these two characters I feel like would get along well in a way, but they're also so similar that they would probably immediately see each other as rivals. And so either way it goes, whether they were friendly or they were like fighting over who's getting the most attention, that is a story I feel I would definitely read. That would be a fun one to see for sure. Then we have Tonal Shift. Choose a story to give a different tone or genre to. So for this one, I was really thinking because normally you read a story and you already kind of know at least somewhat to expect what the kind of the tone or style is going to be. And I mostly read fantasy. I don't read a ton of non-fantasy stuff, so I had to really think of something I would like to see shift. So I'm kind of stretching this one a little bit, but I would love the novel The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie to be turned into, and yes, I know he's no longer living, so this couldn't happen, but see my previous answer about whether or not he's realistic, but to be turned into a Stanley Kubrick style movie, kind of like in the style of either like Doctor Strangelove, one of my favorite movies, a very, very dry comedy, or a bit of Full Metal Jacket, and just kind of see what Kubrick's take would be. Abercrombie does a lot of humor in his stories anyway, and there was, especially at certain parts, that just kind of that feel of that dry, absurdist comedy. One specific chapter I mentioned that felt like a short story all on its own, where like orders are being delivered, and I feel like that would translate really, really well, being adapted that way into a Stanley Kubrick style movie. Unfortunately, Stanley Kubrick is not around to do it, but we'll move on to the next question. Oh, that was the last question. This was a short one. I didn't realize it was so short. So now it's time to tag people. Now, if you've seen my tag videos before, you know I'm really bad about actually tagging people. Usually I just say something like, oh, if you see this, then make sure to do it. But no more. I've told myself from now on, when I do a tag video, I will tag some people. So I do have some people to tag. The first person I'm going to tag is going to be Mila from Mila's Book Reviews. This is a new channel I just discovered pretty recently, and she actually works at a library and really likes to recommend people different books, and so I ended up creating her channel to do it online because of closures due to the whole pandemic. So I think that she would have probably a pretty wide variety of books to kind of pull from and see what would be interesting for changes. The next person I'm going to tag is Francesca from Franny's Books and Adventure. This is another new channel. This one's a really new channel. And from her newbie tag, it sounds like she also reads a really wide variety of stuff. So I thought it'd be interesting to get her take on what she would put in for some of these answers as well. And I'm also going to tag Dom from Dominish Books because I don't think he's done this one yet. And I think he had done the other tags that I'm going to be doing soon for the most part. So I figured I'd tag Dom and see what he does with this one as well. So those are the people that I am tagging. Of course, though, I still will say if you're watching this and you want to do it, by all means, do it. Let me know. I'd love to watch your take on it as well. But I wanted to make sure I actually start tagging people myself too. So there we have it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like. Check out the link in the description for the Wizardly Duo Discord. And of course, if you want to see more of my content, then make sure to subscribe.